Hi there, this is Steve Frazier with Overlandscapes. I'm passionate about exploring the mountains, forests, and deserts in North America and sharing my experiences with you. My other passion is landscape photography, and by combining these two passions, I'm able to travel to remote areas, many requiring 4x4 off-road skills, and photograph beautiful wilderness scenes that many people never have the chance to see. And while I love photography, I don't talk much about it here. The Overlandscape channel focuses on overlanding and adventure travel, helping you to get started or to help you keep going, regardless of why you want to get out into nature. But bear with me a moment, because there's a reason that I'm showing some of my photography work and drone work in this video, which will become apparent in a moment. When you're traveling for long periods of time in the wilderness, the last thing that you want to do is have to find a town where you can get something that you ran out of. If you're like me, you'd rather stay out in the wilderness as long as you possibly can, right? So what's the one thing that will drive you back to civilization quicker than anything else? I trust you got my subliminal or perhaps downright obvious hints. What's that one thing? It's water, of course. But not just any water, potable water, or in other words, water that is safe for you to drink. And that's what this video is going to be about. How do you determine how much water you need to take on your overlanding excursion? How do you store it? And most importantly, what do you do when you run out of water in the middle of absolutely nowhere? Everyone has a different take on this. And unless you try to drink water directly from a lake or river unpurified, there's no right or wrong way. I'm excited to share with you how I do it. What's your approach to water when you're overlanding? I'd love to know, and so would others. Tell us about it in the comments below. So how much water do you need to take? Obviously, that depends on how long you're going to be gone, how many souls are there on the trip, and what type of climate you'll be in. But as a general rule, you can figure that one person uses between 1.5 to 2 gallons of water a day while out in the great outdoors. I actually try to be a little more conservative than this. If you have a dog with you on the trip, you'll probably need an additional 1/2 to a gallon of water a day, depending on the size of the dog. And sanitation can use up water, like when you wash your hands or dishes. That's where I try to cut back on water usage, and I'll talk about the different ways I do it in another video. If you're headed out for a weekend on the trails, you can easily carry enough water with you to last the entire trip. No problem. But what about if you're headed out for a week or weeks or even months? Regardless of how long these types of trips are, it's a good idea to have enough water to last for a week or more. And you probably should consider carrying a minimum of 10 gallons. That alone is an additional 83.3 pounds or 37.8 kilograms that you've got to haul around. But even 10 gallons won't last for a longer trip, so you will need to find a way to replenish your water supply along the way. I've sometimes been able to find a place to refill my water tanks while traveling between various forest and BLM lands. But before you even leave home, you should think ahead and have a viable contingency plan. That's where a rugged, high-quality water filter system can come into play. Let me explain. I first became interested in a portable water filtration system called the Lifesaver Jerrycan 2 years ago. I'd been searching for a water filter for my overland trips when I came across this video about a family that had been traveling through Mexico and Central America for over a year. They used a Lifesaver Jerrycan and had not gotten ill from the notoriously poor water down there. So I bought one, and I've been using it for the past couple of years now. I am absolutely thrilled with it, and I consider it to be one of my better overlanding investments. Besides being extremely efficient at removing toxins and pathogens from water, there are a bunch of other reasons that I think it's great for wilderness overlanding. But first and foremost, it allows me to safely use water from almost any source without worry. If I run out of my water supply, I can go to any river, lake, stream, or spring. And if I had to, I could even take water from a mud puddle. The Lifesaver Jerrycan is used by disaster relief teams around the world where water has been contaminated. Secondly, it gives me a way to store an extra 5 gallons of water on my trips. It holds up to 18.5 liters of water, which is almost 5 gallons. Third, it's unbelievably rugged and durable. I've battered mine around and jarred it across many challenging 4x4 trails without any issues. The walls are very thick because they are designed to withstand internal pressure. More about that in a moment. It is made from food-safe grade plastic that is both BPA and BPS free. Fourth, it's long-lasting, able to filter a ton of water, up to 20,000 liters, which is 5,300 US gallons. And finally, I also like how quickly it filters water. There's virtually no wait time. Unlike many filters that use gravity to pull the water through the filter and it drips out, the pressure that you pump into the Lifesaver Jerrycan literally forces the water up through the filter to merge as a stream at the tap. Purified water is pretty much on demand without the wait time. I carry a combined total of 18 gallons of water in 2 containers in my ALU-CAB canopy camper. That doesn't include any liquids that I might also have in the refrigerator. Now, I'm cognizant of the weight too, as I'm sure that you would be. A gallon of water weighs roughly 8 pounds, 3.78 kilograms, so 18 gallons of water that I'm capable of carrying weighs 144 pounds. 13 of those gallons are stored in my main ALU-CAB water tank, which is mounted on the front wall of my ALU-CAB canopy camper, in between the front and the rear axles. The other 5 gallons of water are stored in the Lifesaver Jerrycan. It serves a dual purpose. It stores water and it purifies water. I refill the Jerrycan with water from my ALU-CAB main water tank using a pump and a hose. The hose that I'm using is the type that's safe to drink water out of, and I bought it at a local Walmart. Eventually, I will run out of water in these 2 tanks, so I can use water from any lake, river, or stream to refill the Lifesaver. I don't need to worry about running out of water in the wilderness, but I never put unpurified water in the larger ALU-CAB water tank. It always goes into the Lifesaver Jerrycan. At that point, when I've run out of water and I start using the Jerrycan, I am dependent on the 5 gallons that I can hold in the Lifesaver Jerrycan. Of course, when that runs out, I just fill it again. As a side note, I've also seriously considered adding a Roadshower to my rig. That would allow me to carry even more water and take hot or at least warm showers. But my one reservation is that it adds a lot of weight up high. So I'm still on the fence about that one. Just because water is sparkling clear doesn't mean that it doesn't have contaminants in it. These can include particulate matter, which are things like dirt, sediment, and debris, bacteria such as E. coli, salmonella, and cholera, various viruses, protozoa, cysts, parasites, heavy metals such as lead and mercury, and chemicals and pesticides, especially from farming runoff. If you would like, stop the video here for a moment to review these dangers that might be lurking in water and let them sink in. No pun intended. People often mention boiling the water, but I think that takes too much time and effort. Fire bans during the summer in the Northwest are very, very common. And while boiling kills the living stuff in the water, it doesn't do anything to remove the heavy metals and chemical pollutants. In a dire emergency, you might get away with drinking water directly from a natural source of water. Not all water is contaminated, especially here in North America and in Europe. Remember, however, water that is crystal clear may contain unseen pathogens and contaminants. And if it does, and you drink it, it can cause nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which in turn can lead to dehydration, especially in high temperatures or in remote areas where medical help is beyond reach. If you're going to be spending all of your time along a seacoast, you might need a different type of water filter to deal with the salt water. These are specifically designed to remove dissolved salts and other minerals from seawater and turn it into drinking water. There are a number of these types of filters on the market, but I don't own one. I still figure that if I need water and I'm on the coast, I'm going to look for a freshwater source, such as a spring, stream, river, or lake, and use my Lifesaver Jerrycan. Not only do I use the Lifesaver Jerrycan while I'm out on the trails, I use it at home also. How many of us are now concerned about our water supply's old infrastructure, those rusting and leaking water mains and pipes that can lead to boil orders? Another recent problem that is getting some attention is microplastics, which are finding their way into our water supplies. So this is my Lifesaver Jerrycan. I've had it for 2 years. It has traveled in the back end of the truck, probably over 6,000 miles. And I can't even begin to tell you how many miles of off-trail it's been. It has been knocked about and jarred about, bounced about, just everything you can think of. And I can see just a little bit of rubbing and abrasion from where it was up against the sidewall, but nothing serious at all. It is made of really strong, heavy plastic, and it has endured quite well. To fill the jerry can, really easy. I've tried to take this end off. This is where the filter and the nozzle are at. But to reach in here between these two protection walls and try to unscrew this, a little difficult compared to the pump side here. And so the pump, you just unscrew it, pull it out, and I set it upside down or in some clean container. So we'll just set it aside right here. And then if I'm filling it up from a lake or a stream or something, then I would scoop it up, submerge this, whatever, to get the water into it. But I'm going to use my faucet here today. So it's pretty full right now, but all I would do is take and fill it up with water until the water reaches just about the bottom of this right here. And then we take and we screw this back on. And I screw it snug. I'm not going to over tighten it, because when you put pressure into this container, then it's going to make it even harder to get off. So just good and snug so it's not going to come off, and that's good. The filter requires pressure in order to force the water up through the filter that's beneath this cap right here. And the nozzle or the tap is where the water comes out. So to pressurize it, there's this built-in or this pump that screws on that you just saw. And you just take and pump it some times until you feel the pressure starting to build up. It gets a little harder to pump. And that should be sufficient. Then you take the knob at the top and you turn it clockwise. Not counterclockwise like you normally would, but clockwise. And then we can see, once we do that, water is streaming out as it comes through the filter. So that's purified water that's coming out of there. Absolutely no wait time, it just streams right out. There is a label up here, and what it warns you or tries to tell you is that they want at least 2 inches of water left in the bottom of the jerry can at all times. And the reason for that is you don't want the filter to dry up. So if you let it get all the way down that far, it's going to require a lot of pumping, because you're trying to pump now a larger space than if it was up here. And generally what I do is when it drops about halfway, or about 2.5 gallons you've used up, and I notice that I'm starting to pump it more, if it's convenient, I will refill it. And that way it just takes a few pumps and water is coming out that's filtered. I decided to put the water filter here at the back door of the ALU-CAB because of the convenience and the easy access. That's not ideal for weight distribution, however. So I've got a question for you, and I'm not the only one that has this question. Ex-Sailor 1970 also asked the same question. If you're traveling and it's freezing weather, how do you keep your water from freezing? Do you use some kind of heat? I've thought about, I could turn on the heater in this, but that's kind of dangerous and I don't think it would work. I've thought about using heat tape, which is a possibility. So if you've got any ideas, share them with us in the comments. We'd sure like to know. Well, as you can tell, I like this. And it's not often that I become as enthusiastic about a product as I am with this one. I have recommended it to a number of people that are overlanding. And in fact, I reached out to the company and asked if I could be an affiliate. It's the first time I've ever done that. Now, an affiliate is not an employee or a representative of the company. It has nothing to do with the company. However, if you click on the link down below and you purchase this, then the company shares a small percentage of that profit. And that helps this channel to grow and to help my overlanding efforts. If you end up buying this, let me know. If you're using a different product, please share that with us by making a comment down below and let us know what you think of it. And if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. I hope that our trails cross soon, and that you stay healthy.